How's it going, everybody? Welcome to OP Entertainment. I'm Omar Darwish.
And I'm Pratik Cherian.
And this is our long-awaited review, 10 years in the making. What is it, 13 years? When was the last one?
I don't know.
I know this is your most anticipated movie probably of all time. Am I right?
Just get to it.
We're back to Pandora, baby. Avatar 2, The Way of Water. I don't think there's a 2 in there. But anyway, Pratik, what did you think about this movie? We're gonna go spoiler-free.
Spoiler-free. I thought it was incredibly similar to the first one. I think... the nicest thing I can say about it, besides saying that it looked really pretty, is James Cameron made the longest and most expensive Fast and Furious movie out there and slid like a nature documentary in the middle of it. So
not everything that has family-oriented cast and crew is
you're right. Fast and Furious.
Right?
Fast and Furious has better action. My bad.
All right,
I'm sorry.
Going on that, just piggybacking on that. The family aspect of this movie is like what makes it a better film than the first Avatar. That the visuals, obviously, I honestly want to say this movie did the first Avatar just better. I don't think I'll watch the first Avatar ever again. I really enjoyed just like the Na'vi and yes, there wasn't a lot of character development with certain female leads from the last one. Is that a spoiler?
They gave Zoe Saldana nothing to do with it.
They gave her nothing to do. You said off screen.
She gets the Megan Fox from Transformers 2 role where she basically just has one line and it's screaming.
Sam!
Yeah. It's screaming Jake over and over and over again. Yeah.
She has her moments at the end, but I think they were definitely saving her for you know what it felt like to me? It felt like Captain America in Infinity War. It's not really his movie or whatever, and then he's more an Endgame kind of. I think
that's a nice way to spin it.
I think we're gonna get more Zoe Saldana in the next one. I think
I'm sure James Cameron will appreciate you comparing it to a Marvel film. But anyway,
that's why I wore the hat. I wore this hat in full preparation to if this movie sucked, we were both gonna be on the hate train together. But I love this movie. Honestly, I wanna know what you didn't like about it so much because
I don't want to gloss over criticisms necessarily, but it's exactly
all the criticisms,
all the complaints that everybody had about the first Avatar, as far as
So you think is boring?
It's boring,
unoriginal.
The story's super unoriginal. It's very weak. The characterization is non-existent. A lot of characters make a lot of choices that are stupid at best and convenient at worst.
A lot of characters make a lot of heat in the moment decisions, and mind you, this movie focuses way more on the children than the adults. So they're making
I'm mostly
decisions.
Talking about the adults.
The adult decisions. Okay,
yeah, they're all kind of stupid. The villain in this gets his own version of somehow Palpatine returns, so that's always nice too.
I think they fully explain. I think they fully explain without going to spoilers why the villain is there and how they are there in a very less it didn't even feel like exposition. It just felt like a very quick line.
Exposition.
Get out of here.
It was the first 30 minutes of the movie is just exposition dump. Hey, we know you don't remember the first one. Here's exposition.
The first 30 minutes of the movie is a lot. It's a lot of movie for sure. I felt like I was reading a book and I was just skimming through the first 5 chapters, and then I was okay, I'm really gonna pay attention to the 6th and 7th chapter, and that was long, but I enjoyed it. Here's what I'll say about the runtime and the length of this movie. Oof. It's 3.5 hours, and it is long, and you do feel every millisecond of it. But if I'm in the edit bay with James Cameron, and he's like, what do you think? Should I cut this out? Should I cut this out? I'm going to say no. Because, yes, it adds to the film time when you have a 10-second shot of just scenery, but it also adds so much world building for me anyway.
I think if you're going into this movie, you're expecting the thing that makes this movie shine. The best part about this movie is the scenery, is the visuals, is Pandora itself. So I'm with you there. You don't want to cut any of that because that's what shines. To me, I think where this whole movie bogs down is in that third act. I think it just goes on for too long. Way too long.
The third act was very reminiscent of another James Cameron movie. Can I say? Is that a spoiler? Okay, cool. I won't say what the movie is, but it's very reminiscent of another James Cameron movie, this third act, and I love that third act as well. So, and this was just more intense. I want to talk about the 3D.
Okay.
I thought that the first Avatar movie, I'm not a huge fan of 3D. I know you're not a huge fan of 3D. No. The first Avatar movie is the definitive 3D must watch this in theaters in 3D IMAX. It was the most immersive experience I'd had until I'd seen Blade Runner 2049 many years later, right? And that wasn't in 3D. This movie, aside from the underwater stuff, which is innovative and incredible and just super immersive, doesn't need to be in 3D. A lot of the 3D kind of almost gave me a headache because it's so much moving around and just It didn't enhance it for me. It felt like post.
Where 3D really works is when you're able to provide either like detailed landscape shots, like a lot of trees, like the first Avatar had,
or add layers to like
right
where you are.
And I think that so much of, and I said this off camera, but so much of this film when it's not underwater, because it takes place like on a shoreline or just like on the ocean, is very like flat, and so it really feels like it's wasting the 3D in a way.
Trying to make a Kyrie Irving flat Earth joke. I just couldn't come up with it. Time you think of something, put it in the comments. Go on.
But yeah, I'm with you. I've never been like a fan of 3D. I've considered it more of a gimmick. I get why James Cameron likes to include it.
I'll say this: if James Cameron announces the next one isn't going to be in 3D, he's not worrying about it. I don't think I would be shocked, and I'm not going to be sad about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to be interested in 3D until they do it without glasses. Once we can get 3D without glasses.
I mean, especially for me who wears glasses.
Yeah.
Like,
how was that experience? For all the people out there that wear glasses over the 3D glasses.
It's 3D glasses over your regular glasses, and it was like smushed up against my face. Yeah, it was not great, but I made it work.
All right, let's get back to the movie though. The movie itself.
Do we have to?
Yes.
All right, fine.
The new characters they introduced, all the kids. I love them. Do I remember any of their names?
Nope.
Not really.
I will say the standout for me is Spider, who's like the human kid that they adopt.
Oh, the white kid.
The white kid. He's the best part of the movie because of that. No.
The white kid with dreads. He was great. He's from,
we're getting dangerously close to I will say, save it for another time. Somebody else who's much smarter than me can do the discussion about like how dangerously problematic some of that stuff is. But look, smarter than me.
James Cameron said,
yeah.
Oh, you want a white savior? Here's your white savior. Anyways. Other than my only gripe really is Zoe Saldana's character gets the shaft of the story,
and Jake is stupid. But Jake was stupid in the first one too. I guess.
I hear this argument that Jake is stupid. Jake is not his twin brother who is like this like smart military guy. He's been out of it for a long time. He's just a normal dude.
I feel like you're giving me plot points from the first movie, and
you don't even it's going over your head.
Like, all right, whatever.
He's just a normal guy. I've never gotten everybody expects this dude to be Luke Skywalker, who's also kind of a normal guy, and they don't like let him be a human. And maybe it's because he's Na'vi or whatever.
Luke Skywalker who pointed a lightsaber at his eye, and we're just like, yeah, you can't expect him to get to that level, like.
All I'm saying is, this isn't his movie, all right? It's definitely not his movie. He had the first one. The first one seems so boring compared to this one. And the first one's definitely not as long as this one.
The first one feels like the first one was in this one. Like, a lot of that second act was just the first one, but underwater.
Oh, I disagree. The action sequences, the fight choreography, especially the underwater stuff, was so, like, what's the word? Just inspired? Like, I loved it. I loved it. Man, talk me out of a 10. Talk me out of a 10. Because
I feel like I've done my best here. I've compared it to Fast and Furious and Rise of Skywalker. What more do you want from me?
Okay, as someone who genuinely cannot stand the Fast and Furious movies, there's like one or two that I can watch. Maybe one that I even like. This is a family movie. Like I felt for their family. I shed tears in moments. Like I don't know. I felt like this movie had more heart than half the movies I've seen this year, for sure. Disagree. Disagree.
I don't like. It's like arguing with Kyrie Irving. Like, I don't even know where to start.
We can't keep referencing Kyrie. I reference Kyrie. You reference Kanye. We go from there.
I'm trying not to get canceled. Okay. Anything else you want to say before we score it?
I'm just going to give it a 9 before I give it a 10 because, the pacing issues of it are my only gripe. And it's not even like pacing. It's James Cameron's got a bit of a case of the Zack Snyders with this where it's like he can't edit anything out. And I get it. If you filmed all this stuff and you did all the post-production on all this stuff, it'd be hard to cut out some of this. What do you cut out? The amazing underwater sequences that add 30 minutes to the movie, but they're beautiful. So I don't know. This movie is like going past a beautiful mountain on a conveyor belt that's at a slow speed, right? But so you're just watching all this beautiful scenery, but it's just kind of really slow. I don't know.
And then somebody hits you with a hammer for the last 30 minutes.
I'll just score this one.
So when couple years back, I worked in a store that sold televisions. And so most of my experience watching the first Avatar is it being demoed on television.
On loop.
It looks really, really good that way. That's gonna be the best way to experience this one. Like if you
Just go to Radio Shack. Is Radio Shack a thing?
Just go sit down in Best Buy as they demo it on the TV. You don't need to hear the dialogue. You don't need the full movie. You just get to see pretty pictures, and then you can leave after like 5 minutes.
I will say you could probably watch this movie on mute and get the gist of it.
Oh yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure. You'd understand
Yes.
who is who, what everybody's like. But that's almost like masterful like filmmaking in my opinion. So like
again, I just don't know that I can score something high if I'm like, yeah, the best way to experience this is like as a background thing that you can just look at because it's pretty.
All right, so just give it your 2.
It's a 6. It's a 6. It's a 6. It's a technical achievement. It's like maybe this is me like getting like blown away by the visuals and giving it credit where none is due.
Deserves it for sure.
But I just think that the technical achievement and the cinematography and how good it looks is enough to take it beyond an average movie, but just by that much, not much more than that. And it's the 6 is purely off the strength of the visuals, and I reserve the right to like knock 5 points down. If you watch this at home, like on a bad TV, it's a 2 or a 3. Okay.
If you watch this on your phone, it's not gonna.
If you watch it on your phone, it's a 1. You may as well just do that on mute.
I obviously disagree with most of what you said. I think this is. While it's just as simple of a story as the first Avatar, it's a much better story in my opinion, or at least it had more nuance to it. James Cameron brought more to this than he brought to the Pocahontas Ferngully version of what he did with the first one.
But like not I said, much more.
The family aspect, while I can't remember the characters' names per se, I loved all the new characters, and I want to see. I'm excited to see the new characters move on. I'm excited to see where Jake Sully and whoever is alive at the end of this continues to go on. I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, I even thought that the villain, while kind of dumb in some aspects, they gave layers to the villain, especially towards the end. Okay, where I feel like I don't know which way this villain could have a complete turnaround in his arc, and his or her arc. I'm not gonna spoil because I don't know how much of that is public, but I'm excited to see where this is all going. I'm hyped for the next Avatar movie, and you know what? I'm really happy it's not gonna take about 10 years. So that being said, I'm thinking 9. I'm gonna give this one a 9.
All right.
I'm just below like masterpiece. There's masterpiece elements to it, and some scenes are executed in a way where it's masterful, but it's not that like cream of the crop like 10 out of 10 level for me.
No, it's not close. All right. Anything else you want to say?
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you guys next week for another movie I know he really wants to see, Babylon. I can't wait.
We'll see how that one goes.
See you guys.
See ya.